My name is Conrad Kehn. I'm founding director of the Playground Ensemble. The Playground Ensemble is a modern chamber ensemble. We're dedicated to working with living composers and modern music. I am also I'm the assistant professor of music and recording arts at the Community College of Denver on the Auraria campus. We have a full concert season. Then we have an active commissioning program where we support the creation of new work. And then we also have a very, very large K-12 program which is focused more on music creativity. Playground Ensemble is in its 18th season now. The ensemble started when I was in graduate school at the University of Denver's Lamont School of Music. As a composer, I wanted to get musicians together that would play my music. As a composer, I'm very reliant on quality musicians to play my music for sure. And so I put the Playground Ensemble together to have my compositions played by very skilled players. Over the years, we have grown to this full concert season, underrepresented works, new commissions, and then also a very, very large education component to what we do now. So with what we do in the education world, we're not necessarily as worried about teaching young kids to play instruments. There's plenty of programs that do that already. Also, in music education, there's been a couple, I think, disturbing but maybe accidental trends over the years. If you have a band program, an orchestra program, or a choir program, you're probably serving half or less of your kids. Those programs are skewed to people that can afford to be in them. The repertoire is skewed to a very European model of music making. And so what we have done is we've focused all of our programs on music creation. In other forms of art, like if we went into an art classroom and I put paper and markers in front of a young person and I said, why don't you draw me something? They could draw me something. But if I put them in a piano and said, why don't you play me something? They would freeze, because we teach creativity out of the music curriculum. So what we do with our Young Composers program, or with sound painting, which is this hand gesture composition language, we give young people voice. We bring equity into music education because this is your story, your narrative, your ideas, your thoughts. We empower young people. We put them in charge of content. And those programs, I think that's really one of the big differentiators in what Playground Ensemble does, is everything we do is about you creating your music. So our Young Composers program, we go into schools and we have the kids write stories, and then we turn those stories into music, and then they do art that goes with it, and we do big concerts. I was taught that by a man named John Deek, who was a bass player in the New York Philharmonic forever. Sound painting, which is this hand gesture composition language that we do, that was created by a man named Walter Thompson. And I was introduced to it at a conference. I then studied these things with the people who created them. I studied sound painting with Walter, have participated in many things he's run. And then what I did is I said, hey, I'm going to take these things that you have shown me, and I'm going to go and I'm going to put them in the schools as much as I possibly can. And so these programs that we run, there were people before me that came up with these ideas, and we've just become a vehicle, is what we are. So as a composer, I'm completely reliant on musicians to interpret my ideas. And over time, what I've also realized is that you need those musicians to believe in you. And so what I have done is assembled a group of musicians that kind of share a vision that we have to innovative music, to creative music, to the creation of new works, and also to very creative and innovative K-12 programs, and brought these people together. And so we now have a relationship where, you know, traditional music is written out, dots and lines on staff paper kind of thing. And in this instance, even particular, I'm able to do some of that, but also just say, hey, here's what I want from you right now. And then we just go into the recording studio and I have them play it for me a few times and say, you know what, I'd like you to do this here, I'd like you to do that there. So we've developed a workflow that is very nice between what might be a traditional classical music workflow and then what somebody in a band might do, because that's what I came up with, right? Like, we just talk about it and we play it. So what I ended up doing to kind of generate ideas for this process is there's the two bars in the logo. I wanted those to be represented in some way, so you'll hear a lot of bing bing in the piece, and that to me represents those two bars the way that I heard them, I guess. And then the other thing I did is I used something called musical cryptograms, where there has been a tradition in music for, it's been for several hundred years now, where we can assign letters to pitches. I mean, our notes are named after A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Now, there's a lot of other letters there that don't necessarily have notes, but there's different ways that you can assign them using solfege, law, like the LA, in Holland and Hart is A in a lot of systems, right? And so what I did is I went through and I assigned a pitch to every letter, and then kind of built harmonies out of that, and then also took the pitches that were assigned to those letters and made a little, what I called the audio brand when we were recording the piece. You'll hear it in the music. It's da 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 ba be ba bum be ba 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 bum ba. That is Holland and Hart spelled out in musical pitches.